Greetings, Andy here again, and this is a bit of an impromptu video following on from the 25 favourite albums from the 21st century thread video, which I did last week. And the reason I'm doing this is because ultimately I found limiting myself just to vinyl records introduced too many compromises, particularly in the noughties, when I was I was almost entirely buying CDs then, the odd vinyl, maybe two or three in the whole decade. Of course, I've updated lots and I showed some of those, but ultimately I've got too many CDs which are favourites. So what I've decided to do on this is basically to have a look at all my CDs that I could think of from that period. I don't have these catalogued, like I do vinyl records. So I sort of pulled them. I pulled loads and loads out, put loads and loads back, and I've got 16 here. Obviously, they're not all going to make the cut, but I just wanted to quickly run through them and say, I've got 5 absolute definites, a few probables and a few possibles. So all of these might well have made my cut. So I never talk about CDs, but I'm going to today. But before I kick off, when I did the first video, I said I didn't know exactly who had kicked it off. I'd picked it up watching Vinyl Richie do one. Anyway, people told me, and I subsequently discovered it was a long cut. And I reached out to him and commented on his video, and I've added one. So here you go. Thanks, Long Cut. So I'm doing these aren't favourites, but I'm going to tell you which ones are so much favourites that they would have made it, and I've got them down into 3 categories here: definitely, probably. So there's a good chance, or possibly. They were certainly ones which gave me food for thought, and I would have had them in the big mix. So, and I'm going through. They're almost all, in fact, all bar one are from the noughties, and as I say, I've got 16. I'm going to whiz through them really quickly, and we're starting in the year 2000, which again somebody pointed out isn't the 21st century. Technically, yes, I know that argument, but we all celebrated it when 99 went to 2000. So as far as most of us are concerned, 2000 is this bloody century. So right, rant over, and I'm starting with one which is actually very little known, and it's Grand Drive and their album True Love and High Adventure. Now this was actually my first sort of foray into Americana. And it is Americana, but it's by 2 Aussie brothers who mostly grew up and live in Croydon in South London. So, and I saw them a couple of times. They're really good. And this has one of my favourite tracks ever, which isn't Americana at all, and it's called Nobody's Song in Particular. I've been listening to this for 25 years, and it I love it all the same. So, but would it have made my cut? In the possible, so it would have been in the mix, but ultimately I don't think it would have done. And so we move on a year 2001, and this is Mercury Rev and All Is Dream, and I think this is a follow-up to Deserter Songs, which came out in '98, I think, wasn't it? And I love this album. Went to see them, not with this one, I think a couple of years later, and it kicks off with The Magnificent Dark Is Rising. It's got Chains. It's just a fabulous record, and would it have made my cut? Not definitely, but probably would have done. I think I would have, had I had this on vinyl, it would have gone in there. And still in 2001, and Faithless, because I don't have any vinyl of Faithless, and I have probably all the CDs, absolutely love them. And this is sort of fairly later one in some ways. I mean, that did have some other ones up afterwards. Donny X, not enough. Week on One is on this. Muhammad Ali is on it. Tarantula. It's a really good one. Would it have made it? Possibly, but probably not. I think Sunday 8 p.m, which came out in when was that, 98, is my favourite. Had that been in the OOs, then it would have been a definite, but I'm going to leave this in the possiblies. It's 2002 now, and this is DJ Shadow and the Private Press, and it's follow up to Introducing in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of elements to it. I prefer this, not totally, but sort of prefer elements to this to Introducing. So it's sort of right up there with it. I love the album. I mean, it's not. It doesn't carry the weight universally that Introducing does, but it's a great album. Would it have made it? It's no more than a possible. And we come to Doves and the Last Broadcast. So this was their second album, came out in 2002. Absolutely fabulous album. I saw them in 2002 when they were doing it. It's just an absolutely brilliant album. And would this have appeared instead of the later one I put on there? And the answer is definitely. This would have been right up in my top 2 or 3 of the century had I had it on vinyl. And for some reason, Dove's albums they don't seem to be that readily available on reasonable prices on there. So I'm very limited. I got all the CDs, and then the last couple of albums I got on vinyl when they came out. Another definite. And it is Coldplay and Rush of Blood from the Head. What, Coldplay in my top 25? But this is a fabulous album. It is. I mean, to me, Coldplay had 3 very good albums, and then sort of it went down a little bit from there. So, so starting with Parachutes, and then this one, and then I think it was the X and Y next was also very good. But they peaked here on the second, and and as much as I don't listen to them anymore and haven't done for years, this one I do. It comes out every now and then. Again, never. I mean, I'm sure it exists on vinyl, but I've never looked, and I've never seen it. But such a fabulous album, that would definitely have been in there. And another definite, and this is one I've talked about quite a lot, and I've never ever seen on vinyl, and it is Lemon Jelly and Lost Horizons, and this is this is the packaging on here. Fred Deakin, one of the duo, is a graphics designer, and he designed all of this, and it is magnificent. I'm not going to pull it all out now, but it's the one with great weather for ducks, and all of that. We all know it. It is fabulous, and this would definitely have been in my top lot. So where are we? 2002. So quite a few there. Now we now move on to 2003, and again, except for Proggers, probably not that well known. And it is the Polish band Riverside and their debut, which is called Out of Myself. And Riverside are one of my favourite sort of what we might call modern, this century prog bands. Whilst it came out in 2003, that was self-released only in Poland, and I think it was a couple of years later before it became general release. I discovered it a few years ago. I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And got this one, and I still listen to this. It's one which I play a lot in the car as well. It's an absolutely fabulous album of modern prog. Also 2003, reminded, I saw Steve Wilson put this one on, Talkie Walkie by Air. It's their 3rd studio album, and it's probably, in terms of completeness, is probably their best, though there are sort of higher points, I think, in both of the earlier albums. But fabulous album. Would it have been? No more than a possible. And still on a possible, and back into the world of prog. Not quite as modern prog as Riverside, but the venerable Marillion and their album Marbles, which came out in 2004. One of their finest albums. It's a double CD. It's to me, this is probably equal my favourite to theirs of the sort of modern era. You know, along with Brave. So great album. And where are we? Still in 2004. And it's the Black Keys and Rubber Factory. So this is their third studio album, I think. And the second one I got into. The first one was Thick Freakness that I had and loved it. This one I think is a more complete, rounded, end-to-end album, and it's absolutely fabulous. Apparently, they recorded it in an old tyre factory, which is where the Rubber Factory comes from. You know, and I've just listened to their new album, and boy, they were so much better then. The last album, which came out a couple of years ago, I bought it. I was really disappointed with it. It was all right, but I've streamed the new one, which is released this month, a couple of times, and it's just all right. It's not, you know, I don't hate it. It's just not, you know, it's not proper blues rock. Yes, I know it's me being old fashioned, but anyway, it's just a possible. And we now, where are we now? 2008. Blimey, we're coming towards the end of this decade, the noughties, and it is British Sea Power who have recently named themselves Sea Power because of the international whatever. And do you like rock music? And this is a probable. So this would have been right in the final sort of cut for me. I saw. I mean, they are. This I think is their finest moment. But I remember when I saw them on their first after their first release in early 2003, and they were supporting the Flaming Lips when they were touring Ishimi, and I mean, if ever that, there has never been a more bonkers gig than that, because particularly in their early days, British Sea Power were also completely eccentric. So you've got possibly the two of the most eccentric bands going playing together. It was brilliant, but totally bonkers. But this is a much more formed album. It's got the sort of waving flags and a fabulous album. I probably should have looked on vinyl at some point, but haven't. But it's a probable, not a one. So now we come. I've got two here. So no, I'm only picking one of them, but. I mentioned I put Elbow. On which album did I? I put their second album on, which I thought was very good, but mentioned that, you know, it wasn't necessarily my favourite because I've got CD, and really to me, my favourite Elbow is a toss up between these. So, Sleep in the Back is their debut album, and then Seldom Seen Kid, which came out in 2008, is I think their most complete. I think this is the one they won the Mercury Award on. I saw them twice touring this. So the first was I got a ticket to a small venue in Wolverhampton. They did a practice gig, rehearsal gig. So I got to see that, which was great because it was. I know they didn't need much practice, to be honest, because it was so up close and personal. And then saw them on the main tour at a medium-sized venue in Birmingham, and it is brilliant. It is an all-killer, absolutely an all-killer, no filler album. So out of these two, even though this is quite, it's a bit darker. And it's got individual tracks which I prefer. You know, there's two or three on here which are amongst my favourite of all. But I'm going to go for the complete album if I had to make a choice. So that goes in, and that would definitely have been in there. And we're coming up towards the last two now, and another little known band. And this is an absolute definite. I've looked many times for this on vinyl, but never seen it. So I don't know whether it ever existed, to be honest. And it is the rather unfortunately named Fuck Buttons, and their second album, Tarot Sport. This came out in 2009. It was my album of the year that year, and it's fabulous. So you know, Fuck Buttons were two kids who were making music in their bedroom in Bristol, I think it was, and obviously had the idea that Fuck Buttons was a good name for a band and get plenty of airplay on the radio. But anyway, they've moved on since then, because obviously this was a lot of years ago, and I mean, this is fabulous. What is it? It's electronic, but it's heavy. It's somewhere in a. It's not. It doesn't fit any exact genre, but it's somewhere, I would say, in electronica, heavy prog, post rock. It's largely instrumental, but there are vocals, but they're sort of growly vocals rather than pure song. And it is. I mean, you know, it's just absolutely brilliant. They've got Olympians on here, Surf Solar. I mean, just stream those, have a listen. It's different, but fabulous. And this would definitely have been in my favourites had I got it on vinyl. And last but not least, we're just into the in the next decade. It's 2011, and it is where are we? I've lost my notes. Death Cab for Cutie and Codes and Keys. So, I mean, their album Transatlanticism is considered to be their finest, but this was the first one I heard of them and absolutely really loved, and you know, I play this a lot. So, would it have made my list? Sort of possibly. Now, you know, so why no more from here? I wasn't into buying all vinyl. I mean, as we moved on through the tens, I was buying more vinyl. But also I had a subscription to a digital, a digital, not streamer, but a sort of download. So in other words, I paid 20 quid a month and got 100 tracks. So I've got thousands of these on a server which sits under my stairs. So I'm not showing those. There are a few in there which I haven't upgraded to vinyl, which I might well have, added in there from, before and after. So this is where I picked up on the Decemberists. So I would have had the Crane Wife in here, but I only have it as a digital. But I've found it now on vinyl and it's on its way. So there you go. That's a bit of an impromptu. CDs only, whatever next. But anyway, now I've got that off my chest because, because I just wasn't happy with my selection. Just too many compromises on the original one. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Cheers.